Weaves a web any size, catches thieves just like flies. Look out, here comes the Spider-Man. Is he strong? Listen, buddy, he's got radioactive blood. Can he swing from a thread? Take a look overhead. Hey there goes the Spider-Man. In the chill of night, at the scene of a crime, like a streak of light, he arrives just in time. Spider-Man, Spider-Man, friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. Wealth and fame he's ignored, action is his reward. Look out, here comes the Spider-Man. Friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. Wealth, fame, he's ignored. Action is his reward. Look out, here comes the Spider-Man. In the chill of night, at the scene of a crime, like a streak of light, he arrives just in time. Here comes the Spider-Man.
This goes out to all the women in the world, especially her. You know it don't even matter your age, don't even matter your color. Yo, fellas, I ain't forget about y'all. This is for everybody that like to dance. Just listen to what I'm saying and do it and take a chance. I put my hand up on your hip. When I dip, you dip, we dip. You put your hand up on my hip. When you dip, I dip, we dip. I put my hand up on your hip.
Have you heard of Jesus? Have you heard of Jesus?
All right, how's everybody doing tonight? Oh man, probably not even going to get as many viewers as I usually do. Oh, another super chat because Medicare's streaming. I was listening to Medicare stream, but I kind of ducked out. I kind of get sick of it. I'll be honest with you. The Eric July simping from Jim, I don't get. I don't like. I think I get it, but it's a little embarrassing. Yeah, it was fun watching some of the Ricada lore. His implosion. I mean, it's kind of sad, but it's also kind of funny. But then he's like, he gets to like, Ricada had a beef with Eric July, and he's like, and I don't get why does everybody hate Eric July? I don't get it. I don't understand why everybody's supposed to hate him. You know, the internet's so mean to him. You know, of course he overreacts. The internet's mean to him. What? That's coming from Jim? He doesn't like trolling. Well, he doesn't like criticism, which, you know, if you're supposedly an artist, supposedly a creator, probably not a good trait to have. And he flags shit all the time. Didn't Jim crucify Mundane Matt for that kind of shit? But no, it's because people that Jim doesn't like don't like Eric July, so he's gonna take his side. It's gay. It's fucking gay. It's gay. It's really gay. Mersh doesn't like Eric July, so Jim's gonna simp for Eric July. It's really gay. Is it that I can't imagine having to like take sides and shit. Like, oh my gosh, this person I don't like hates this blithering retard, so I got to take the side of the blithering retard. Yeah, so I kind of was like, I don't want to. And I wanted to stream last night, but so it says Kiwi Farms does the same thing. Bye. What was it Josh said the other day? Josh Moon was defending on Twitter, fucking Eric July, and he's going off about like, well, Eric is facing harassment, and I'm like, Josh, your entire career, if you want to call it that, is hosting a site dedicated to harassing the mentally ill. Like, that's its purpose. And you want to say that falls under free speech? I mean, a little bit of what they do maybe doesn't. But, yeah, fine. Most of it, at least. But don't get on a moral high ground about, oh my gosh, can you believe Eric July's being harassed? Are you fucking kidding me? Are these motherfuckers getting Glenn Beck money to defend? I know that's a big pusher behind Eric July himself, is the fucking Blaze. I don't know. Eric July's garbage. His comic is one of the worst fucking comics I've ever read. And I mean in like the top fucking 5. The bottom 5, I guess you'd say. And I've read a lot of fucking comics. Duke of Tumwater sent $2.50 and says, "What's your opinion on the dinosaurs didn't exist conspiracy?" Well, that's more of that like Earth is flat. I'd even lump the nukes aren't real in with that kind of crazy Owen Benjamin shit. It's gay. I mean, look, I don't get mad at that kind of stuff. I don't like so a couple weeks ago I watched a video, Kyle Hill, I think, the guy that used to do that like Because Science stuff where he analyzes like the science fiction shit. He's been a big proponent of nuclear energy recently, which I agree with. It's largely a good thing, and you know, there's a lot of myths surrounding it and all. But he tackled the nukes aren't real shit, responding directly to Owen Benjamin, and he kind of went off like it's offensive to the people that died in Hiroshima to even be saying this, and I'm like, I don't give a fuck. Like, Kyle, we're talking about science. I don't want to hear the words offensive come out of your fucking mouth. Okay? There's nothing wrong with asking questions, even stupid questions. Sometimes stupid questions turn out to be not so stupid questions. That's fine. That's totally what science is fucking about. That said, though, the nukes aren't real shit is pretty fucking dumb and easily debunked. Same with the flat earth shit. The dinosaurs aren't real shit. All this other gay shit. Alright? It's like this weird neo-creationism shit coming from these people. I don't even know what the fuck they're on about. It's all retarded and gay. If you're unironically going on about any of that shit, you're probably a fucking moron. Duke Tumwater donated another $2.50. Said, "What are your thoughts on Christians using Romans 13 to justify obedience to authoritarian governments?" It's funny, I actually have a book, and I got it, my God, 2010 or 11. It wasn't published by InfoWars, but InfoWars was promoting it. That's how I found out about it. Just called Romans 13. I'd have to look at the author. It's a really good analysis of that kind of stuff. And the short answer to that is, I mean, here in America at least, I don't know about the rest of the world. I generally don't concern myself with lesser nations that don't have their flag on the moon. But here in America, the only country that matters, the sovereign is supposed to be the people. Okay? We're a republic. We're a democrat. If you want to be really fucking pedantic and particular about it, we are a constitutional democratic republic. You know, the sovereign is the people, the law, you could say, or even the Constitution. But it's not fucking Joe Biden. It's not Obama. It's not fucking Dan Crenshaw. It's not George W. Bush. It's not any of these cocksuckers. Okay? They are meant to serve that same law, the people, the Constitution is. That's the sovereign in this country. So all those people that are pulling this authoritarian bullshit are actually usurping the true sovereign leadership of this country. And even broader than that, Romans 13, there's a lot of people who will take general guidelines in the Bible and turn them into hard and fast rules, and things don't fucking work that way. A general deference to authority and leadership being a usually good trait does not mean you constantly lick the boot. And nobody who isn't autistic needs that fucking explained to them. Or nobody who just doesn't like licking the boot needs that explained to them. Duke of Tumwater sent another $2.50 and said, "Which Ninja Turtle do you think Matt Murdock / Daredevil would get along with best?" Well, probably Mike. I mean, he's the easiest to get along with. I do hope we get a Ninja Turtle Daredevil crossover comic. That'd be fucking great. I hope Marvel gets off their ass on that. They're doing some crossover comics here recently. They just announced Ultraman, the Japanese property, doing an Avengers crossover. And they also they've done some Alien. They've done Wolverine versus Predator, and Aliens versus Avengers, and Predator versus Black Panther is coming up soon. But those are things they have the rights to. Like, they have the Ultraman comic rights. They have the Predator and Alien rights. I mean, hell, they're now owned by the same parent company since Fox was bought by Disney. They haven't done an intercompany crossover really since Disney bought them, as far as I know. I think maybe Spider-Man Red Sonja was the last one they did. They did a Fortnite crossover comic. I don't know why. I can't imagine your average Fortnite fan is a big reader, or even really can read. But whatever they did, DC did one too. But that was published at Marvel. They did. What else did they do? Is there something else? They've done some weird stuff where, like, they licensed out some Marvel properties to IDW a few years back for, like, a Marvel action line. It was, like, supposed to be, like, kid-friendly books set in their own continuity. They did, like, Spider-Man and Avengers. A couple others. I think, like, Captain Marvel and Black Panther. Other things that aren't really that popular, but Marvel was pushing at the time. They did that, but that was, again, not an intercompany crossover. That was just letting them... I'm talking about, like, a comic book that... Where you see two comic book companies' logos on the fucking cover. You know what I mean? Where there's two properties with two different comic book companies owning the rights, or not owning, but having the rights at that time to it, at least. You know, a Marvel DC one, or Spider-Man Red Sonja, that was with Dynamite at the time. Or, hell, there's been a million, Batman Ninja Turtles, there's fucking 4 of those. It was IDW and DC, those kind of things. Marvel hasn't done one of those since, I don't think since Disney bought them. I really don't think. I think Spider-Man Red Sonja might have been their last one. Maybe that, there was a couple of Top Cow, like Witchblade and Darkness Marvel ones that might have come right after that. I'm not sure. But I want to say it was Spider-Man Red Sonja. It was like around 09, 2010-ish. But basically not since Disney bought them. And that's weird because Disney will license shit it has to other... like Marvel does most of the Star Wars comics, but Dark Horse does some of them again now. IDW did some of them. A lot of Disney properties, specifically Disney ones, get licensed over to IDW or Dynamite. Dynamite's doing a ton of Disney books right now. For, like, comics for, like, Darkwing Duck and Lilo and Stitch and fucking, like, Disney princesses, I think, and shit, like, stuff like that. I don't know, it's weird, but like I said, we haven't had... And the past decade, I mean, the 2010s, the one really good thing that was going on in comics was a lot of fun crossovers, and none of them Marvel. I mean, goofy off-the-wall shit, like Star Trek Green Lantern and... Betty and Veronica meets fucking Poison Ivy and Harley Quinn. Just goofy, bonker shit like that, you know? Transformers, Ghostbusters. Just oddball shit like that. Fucking just recently, Stranger Things Ninja Turtles, which is great, by the way. Speaking of Ninja Turtles, since we are speaking of Ninja Turtles, that super chat there. There's a Humble Bumble, which does a lot of online comics, just put out a fucking deal today. And it's even like, it's for charity. Like, proceeds go to Make-A-Wish or supposedly. You can get digital copies of the big hardcover collections of volumes 1 through fucking, I think, 15. And then The Last Ronin. Well, and that's like 200 issues worth of the fucking IDW Ninja Turtle comic. Because there's tie-in miniseries and one-shots, and I have those physical hardcovers. They're all put in reading order. They even have the Ghostbusters crossovers, which are very much canon to that. And then Last Ronin's great, too. They have the digital shit for that for like $18 right now. So, like, if you're at all interested in reading the IDW Turtles, that's a great way to do it. I'm not big on digital copies because it's a glorified fucking rental. But $18 for that amount of content for a long-term rental is not a bad fucking deal. If I wasn't watching my money, I might have dropped the ducats just to be able to stick them on my fucking tablet or something. Or hand them off to somebody. Like I got a buddy in Australia. I got a buddy that lives in Taiwan. Both of which been wanting to read those, but shipping out physical books to those places is a bear. And yes, Duke of Tumwater, we'll probably get into that E. Michael Jones video you sent me last time. You did. Maybe we'll try and watch a little bit more of it. God, it's so insufferable. E. Michael Jones sucks. He fucking sucks. Like, what a shitbag he is. So it says, did you see Michael Jones getting dunked on for being anti-Second Amendment? His advice to someone breaking in your home is just call the police. He can't stop submitting to authority. God forgive me. I hope he's in a position where he needs to test that advice. What a shitbag he is. There's a few people I just... Like, there's a lot of people I don't like. I can watch, I can listen to them. Maybe they piss me off sometimes or whatever. Then there's some, it's like, everything bad... E. Michael Jones has driven more people away from Christ than 1,000 fedoras could ever hope to. Yeah, fuck E. Michael Jones. Fucking piece of shit. Honestly, fuck the Catholic Church. When Jesus said it is finished, the Bible says the veil in the temple was ripped, top to bottom. And again, if you're not familiar with Christian teaching, in the Old Testament times, you couldn't just approach God. There was very particular about who could approach, the Holy of Holies, the supposed physical area of the temple that God supposed his presence dwelt. And, priests had to go through meticulous, autistic cleansing rituals and all this, by the way, it's not the ritual itself that mattered. This was God attempting to teach things. It was, attempting to teach how unapproachable he is and should be. But Christ paid for that. He fulfilled all that. The veil was torn. You may now approach freely through Christ. Boldly. You can, as casually as you would approach your own biological father. And it has been the tireless mission of the Catholic Church, for as much of its history as I'm familiar with, to sew that veil back up. To throw, and not just like, there's a lot of other types of Christians that'll do this, that'll throw all kinds of things in between you and God. But the Catholics specialize in it. It's a feature, not a bug with them. And it has been their tireless mission to throw as much shit in between you and God as they possibly can. To sew that veil right back up. They've been at work at it ever since. Thankfully, in any meaningful sense, they can't. But they can trick a lot of people. There's a guy on Twitter, real fucking spurg, We Was Crusaders, I think is his handle. A few weeks ago, this is how fucking much of a trad spurg he is. He put out a poll where he was like, which is worse, rape without a condom or beating off? His position, of course, being that beating off is worse because he's insane. But, you know, if you went on his Twitter page, he's got like a pinned tweet like, there is no salvation outside the Catholic Church. And it's funny because, you know, I open up the Bible and I see Jesus specifically saying, I am the way, truth, and the life. You know, salvation is through me. He didn't mention anything about submitting to a bunch of pedophiles in Rome. I feel like he would have mentioned that if that was part of the deal. But he didn't. He said nothing about that. People in the chat say, a lot of people say dinosaurs didn't exist. The bones we found are actually dragon bones. I mean, I think the more likely explanation is that myths of dragons came from people finding dinosaur bones. You know, you're digging a hole to put the foundation of a castle in and be like, what the hell is that? Ah, it must be dragon bones. You know, we've probably been finding those fossils here and there through most of our history and just said, it's a dragon. Big scary dragon. But I don't know. Who the fuck knows? Maybe dragons are real too. I don't fucking know. That's more likely than... dragons being real are more likely than fucking nukes not being real. I have an easier time believing dragons were real than that the earth is flat. Okay, like... vampires being real is more likely than half of these fucking schizoid theories these people come up with. Eldritch fan in the chat says, Bechtloff reading brought a book and you didn't? Well, that's true. That's true. Although I do have 2 weeks off these next 2 weeks, so, you know, maybe I can alleviate that. So he says, Eldritch fan also says, I might be able to finish my first draft of my book by the end of Memorial Day weekend, so there's that. I mean, I'll be honest with you, I finished my first draft, I don't know what to do with it now. I don't know what's going on with Terror House, but it doesn't seem like much is going on with Terror House, and that's kind of the guy I knew who published books, you know. I mean, he wasn't... I don't believe for a moment that Matt Forney would have published my book because we were friends, but he would have taken a look at it and considered it because we were friends. I don't know where else to go. Maybe I'll have to figure out self-publishing, which will probably be pretty difficult because I'm retarded and I don't know how to do basically anything. I can't even clean the fan in this laptop. So, you know, I don't know. But I guess that's a problem to worry about once the first draft is done, eh? Yeah, I don't know what's going on with Terror House, but it doesn't seem like much is going on with Terror House right now. I don't know. I've heard scuttlebutt that maybe it's not doing well. I don't know, and I don't want to speak out of turn because I am friends with Matt. But I can tell you that I haven't seen a lot of updates. I haven't seen a lot of books coming out. So it says there was a really cool documentary on Animal Planet back in the day about if dragons were real. I think one of my favorite like paranormal theories is that the Loch Ness Monster is just a ghost of a dinosaur. Like sure, why not? I'm fine with that. There's certain things where I'm just like, you know what? That's just cool and it doesn't affect anything. I hope it's real. Oh, man. I did follow a little bit of the Ricada stuff, and I don't know, man. He's clearly got a drug problem. He's, you know, good Christian man. Now he's in a three-way relationship with his wife and some hoe. which on one level I can't throw stones at because I literally have been in a 3-way relationship with 2 girls once. But also, there weren't kids involved. There weren't little fucking kids in the house. And I was doing that. Like, nobody's making you have kids, okay? I know there's a lot of fucking trads and a lot of Catholics and a lot of social conservatives that they were in charge. Maybe they'd make you have kids, but they're not in charge. And so you don't have to have kids. So, like, if you want to be a piece of shit hedonist, then go ahead. She says, congratulations, Bechtloff. You got the first draft done. It's further than most wannabe writers get. I mean, it's kind of done. I keep adding to it. And it also... It's a book that sort of happens over the course of years. And it's told in the way of, like, little snippets of time here and there. And I'm not 100% sure on the chronological order of some of those events, because they could go either way. So, you know, I got most of the pieces done, and I got to kind of put them together. And there's still some more pieces I want to add. And then there's been pieces I've looked at and then scrapped. So, I mean, whatever. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe I'll never get it done. Maybe I'm just a fucking retard loser. Who does? Duke of Tumwater since 215 says, what do you think is the most likely explanation for sightings of Bigfoot? I don't know, man. I haven't seen any real solid evidence that points to that being real. That said, I've known people who swore up and down. I had a buddy, and it was a work buddy, so I'm not really... I've lost track of him. But, you know, a work buddy. You know what I mean. But this was a few jobs ago, and he swore up and down that Bigfoot was real. His position was that Bigfoot is now extinct, but that it was alive well into the 20th century. Like, he took the position it was alive at least into, like, the 40s or 50s, possibly as late as the 70s or 80s, when the last one died out. That was his position. That it was a semi-sapient North American ape. So it says, or you can indie publish it or Amazon. I mean, there's ways to do it. I don't know how. I hope Terror House is doing good. Matt's a bro, man. I hope he's doing good. You know, I haven't seen any input out of Terror House in a while, and I've heard scuttlebutt, and I hope that that's not true. I hope he's doing good. Now, again, I maybe I shouldn't even be saying that. I don't mean to be talking out of turn. It's just shit I heard. You know, I haven't talked to Matt in a while. Popping up in the chat is like the most I've talked to him. I like sending a meme on like Skype or Discord or something. But yeah, I don't know what's up with it. You know, it could just be a position. I don't know. I don't even want to speculate because, again, I feel like I'm talking out of turn. But I would have preferred to go to Terror House because then it's somebody's, you know, actually doing all the stuff I don't fucking know how to do. Promoting his shit, you know. I don't know how to promote, like, my pen name's Twitter. I wouldn't know how to promote shit. All I do on my pen name's Twitter is, like, fucking talk about comic books and retweet pictures of hot girls. I don't know what I'm doing. But yeah, I really don't get the Eric July simping too. That does actually bug me. Maybe more than it should, but it's like Eric July is such an obvious fucking retard. And every single person that defends him hasn't read his comic book, couldn't tell you the first fucking thing about his comic book, doesn't even like comic books in general. It's so clearly being pushed as a culture war shit, or there's guys pushing it because they don't like the people that made fun of him or something. And it's like, I don't want that shit in my fucking hobby. I'm all for indie creators getting their shit out there and making the market more vibrant, but like, that ain't it, Chief. That shit makes fucking Youngblood look like fucking Dark Knight Returns or Watchmen. It's garbage. It's unreadable dog shit. Traced from AI art and 3D models and shit. There's nothing redeemable about it. Jim was going off about the lawsuit too. He's like, yeah, and Eric July won that lawsuit because it was frivolous. You know, of course nobody's going to mistake a comic book for a Christian ministry. And it's like, no, first of all, he settled out of court. And I don't believe the details were ever published, but he probably had to cut a fucking check to the ministry called ISOM. Because the reality is, there very easily could have been brand confusion between a Christian ministry named ISOM and a comic book about a Christian superhero with a cross on his stupid, shitty costume, also named ISOM. It would be very easy to confuse those two. You know, the last stream I saw of Jim was his big merch stream a couple months ago, I think now it was. And that was all like, haha, Mersh is fat and he has cats. Okay, yeah, he does. And then it was like, and Mersh liked the tweet of someone that was making fun of me, and that person has ties to satanic pedophiles. I'm like, okay. Are we supposed to do background checks on Twitter users before we like their tweets? That was like the big gotcha. And look, I'm not even one of them guys that's like, oh, Jim's not dying, and like, fuck Jim. Like, I like Jim. I like most of his content, and he's probably dying. Yeah, I guess it could be some elaborate ruse. But, like, there's no reason to believe that other than I don't like Jim. And an elaborate ruse to do what? To make less money? It doesn't make any fucking sense to me. It's possible, sure. Again, you know, it's possible there's a ghost of a dinosaur in Loch Ness Lake. All right? A lot of things are fucking possible. Somebody in chat says, do you like Jesse from Pod Awful? I don't. And it's not even like I don't know the guy personally. He doesn't know I exist, so he's never attacked me. I don't have a beef with him. But his show sucks. It fucking sucks. Holy shit. Jesse is like a black hole where entertainment and charisma goes to die. Even when he's on shows I would watch, like when he'd pop up on Kino Casino, it would be the worst fucking segment. I'd be like, oh God. Like pop in when he's back. He's just he sucks. He just kind of sucks. I don't know. Maybe he's a really nice guy. You know, he certainly pretends to be an asshole on the internet, but that's kind of the shtick of those kind of shows. I get that. Maybe he's a totally nice guy. I don't know. You know, but he kind of seems like a piece of shit, and he's not funny. Like, a lot of these guys are pieces of shit, but like Dick Masterson seems like a shithead, but Dick Masterson can be pretty funny. You know? I'm sure Merce is a fucking asshole, but, you know, Merce makes me laugh. I mean, I'm not a big on ROTC guys' solo shows, but ROTC is pretty funny. You know? Jim's probably a dickhead, but he usually makes me laugh. You know, the Kino Casino boys, it's a 300-pound golem of gluttony, 600-pound golem of gluttony, and a fucking cokehead. You know, but their shows are usually pretty funny. At least the last I used to watch them. I haven't watched them much since they've been on Kick, because Kick doesn't fucking work. Duke Tumwater sends in a 250. He says, if you were in Eric July's position where you had the resources to create your own comic book, what would you do differently? Well, I would hope that I would create something that doesn't suck a bag of dicks. That would be the first thing. is I would hope that I would do that. I would hire, and look, I'm not much of an artist. I used to be pretty good at it, but I really haven't picked up pen and paper in decades now. Can't imagine I could shake the rust off. My senior year of high school, I did Votech, where they were preparing me for art school, and that was enough to destroy my love of art. Because I was like, I want to be a comic book artist. And they're like, here's how to make magazine ads. I'm like, okay, cool, that sucks. I don't want to, if I'm just going to do a soul-crushing job, why don't I just go work at the fucking box factory? I don't have to spend 4 years in college to do that. So yeah, that would be the first thing I would do, is I would hopefully be able to write a story that doesn't suck a bag of dicks. I would hire an artist who would actually draw the book and not just trace 3D models and AI art. That would be another thing I'd do. And also, I would try and take criticism like a mature fucking adult and not spurg out like some excitable hood rat at the club when somebody stepped on your Pumas. I might do that. And also, I would have nothing to do with Comicsgate if I was putting out a comic book. And I mean, in the purest, like, if people asked me about Comicsgate, I would be like, look, I don't have anything to do with that. I don't know anything about that, but, you know, whatever. People are getting their stuff out there. I don't know. You know, it's if you enjoy it, you do. If not, whatever. You know, just completely neutral. I wouldn't even attack Comicsgate if I was putting out a comic. I'd just be like, oh, you know, it's not really my scene. I don't really know what's going on there. I got nothing to do with that. But yeah, those are some things I do differently. So yeah, to go off the checklist, write a coherent story. Hire a competent artist. Not embarrass myself over criticism. I would hopefully I would do all those. I'd like to think I'd do at least all of them better than him. I don't know that there's anywhere to go but up. I don't know. Certainly if I was handed that amount of money. If I was handed the amount of money that motherfucker pulled in, I'd be hiring Mark Bagley or something to draw my fucking comic. Fucking Dan Mora or some shit. You kidding me? Somebody in chat says Jesse is hilarious, or at least the Smash Mouth tribute was. I'm not okay. I don't watch him often. I think Jim wants to fake his death, and DFE when it makes it the best story. I don't think Jim's faking his death, and I certainly don't think Jesse is hilarious. But if you enjoy Jesse from Pot Awful, I'm very happy for you, I guess. Clearly, you see something there I don't. To me, Jesse is like back in the day when I'd watch like Adult Swim and be like, oh, Aqua Teen, that rules, or fucking C-Lab, yay, and then, you know, and then there'd be stuff, it's like, home movies, that's hit or miss. Oblongs, it's fine, it's something to watch. And then it'd be like, oh, Tim and Eric is on. Wow, that blows. I don't want to watch that. Or Tom Goes to the Mayor was the show they had before that. I'm like, wow, that's fucking terrible. So he says, say what you will about the Rippaverse and the quality of the work, but at least they are trying to provide an alternative as opposed to making 5,000 videos complaining about Marvel being woke. I guess. An alternative. It's the... Take a shit on a plate. It's not an alternative to fucking McDonald's. Like, it's... I guess, but I don't know, man. I don't think you win the culture war by putting out the most embarrassing shit I've ever fucking seen in my life. That's just me. I don't know. Because again, nobody likes Isom. Just so we're clear. I don't know of anybody that does. I know people that pretend to, because McCulture War, like Melanie Mack, pretends to. She doesn't like comics. She watches anime and plays Tomb Raider like any other basic bitch Twitch thought. But she didn't actually know. Like, name a character that wasn't in a movie. Name a comic book character that wasn't in a movie, Melody, please. She can't, okay? She's just a dumb hoe bag. Alright? She's the kind of church girl that'll blow you in the Applebee's parking lot after a date because mouth stuff doesn't count. Alright? And she'll defend Eric July. Oh, you know, EVS is just attacking Eric July because he's jealous. No, EVS is attacking Eric July because, first of all, EVS is a dickhead and an asshole and always has been ever since his days at DC. He's just a combative motherfucker. And also he's attacking Eric July because Eric July fucking sucks. Somebody says Tim walked so Sam Hyde could run. I like Jesse because he has that old internet troll everyone spirit. I wish he had that old internet be funny spirit though. That would have been that'd be cool. And unpopular opinion, I know all the Zoomers and young millennials fucking worship Sam Hyde. He's the edgy boy and shit, but like I don't think Sam Hyde's that fucking funny. He's certainly not anymore. Like the whole TED Talk bit he did was fucking gold. That was great, but what was that, fucking 10 years ago? The rest of his stuff isn't that fucking good. Like, Sam Hyde must seem fucking great if you're not old enough to remember Dave Chappelle or, good God, let's go really far back. Fucking, you know, the Opie and Anthony or Stern Show. When you're not old enough to remember, Dave Attell even, or fucking, good God, I could name just any comedy from before like 2005. If you're not old enough to remember that, when comedians could be fucking edgy, then yeah, I bet Sam Hyde seems fucking amazing. And again, if you like Sam Hyde, good. I'm glad for you. You know, a lot of people do. I guess I just don't really see it. Doesn't really do it for me. Yeah, I mean, there's still people that watch modern Simpsons. That boggles my fucking mind. So the chat says, I need to catch up on Fish Tank House and to get into Glory Days of Talk Radio. Yeah, I'm sorry, like, Stern wasn't even that great. And, like, 1990s Stern outshines anything out there, really. Fucking Opie and Anthony, kind of Doug Stanhope, you know, David Tell. You know, like, my God, man, take your pick. It was a fucking embarrassment of riches in comedy back then. So yeah, I don't know. If you enjoy it, good for you. You know, I like a lot of stuff other people don't like, so. Yeah. So he says, Eric July is one of the few people who provide an alternative to the crap Marvel and DC has been making the last decade, despite the lackluster quality of his books. Yeah, but like, what? How is it an alternative, though? That's not an alternative. Hey, you don't like that there's too many gay characters in Justice League now? Well, what about unreadable dog shit? That's not an alternative. I'd rather just read nothing. I'd rather just go to the back issue bin. Like, what? So it says, I'm watching Simpsons Season 9. The episodes are starting to get formulaic, but there's a lot of great jokes. Homer's tax for you. Season 9's still good. I am being a bit generous with this, but I will say that the golden age of Simpsons is the first decade. And there's even some good stuff after that. The movie's pretty good. But the thing is, Simpsons at its peak was so fucking good that it had a ways to go down before it got actually bad. Okay? You really got to get to like season 13 or so before it's just actually kind of bad now. It's not good anymore. It's not, certainly not great. It's not even okay. It's more bad than good. So I know a lot of people say 9 is the end. Certainly that episode with like Seymour Skinner isn't really Seymour Skinner. A lot of people point to that as kind of being the death of The Simpsons. And for good reason. But I was still enjoying the show in like seasons like 10 and 11. I knew it was kind of cooked at that point. But I was still getting some fucking laughs out of it. I actually remember, I want to say like 09, maybe 2010-ish. I, for the first time in years, sat back down to watch an episode of The Simpsons. Because I was still watching shit like Family Guy, and I think maybe Futurama might still have been on at that point. So here comes Simpsons on, and I was like, you know what, let's give it a shot. Maybe it's like an SNL situation where it's been on long enough to actually have ups and downs. And I watched an episode, and I didn't even get through the whole thing. It starts off banger. Somehow Homer ends up becoming Krusty's assistant. And he's going to travel around with Krusty. And Bart's going to follow him. And it's made me laugh. And we're like a minute or two into it. And it's made me laugh a couple of times. I'm like, okay, Krusty rules. Homer's going to be his assistant. The best episodes of the Golden Age Simpsons were Homer up to shenanigans with Bart running sidekick. Those were some of the best episodes. I'm like, oh my God, maybe it's got the magic back. This is a great setup. And right then, it just like, it decides to ignore all that, and it shifts the focus to Lisa. Even in the Golden Age, that's a bad sign. What's Lisa going to do while this is going on? She's going to a fucking music camp. And all the kids at music camp are voiced by the cast of Glee. And they're all based on like characters from Glee. I'm like, wow, you had an amazing setup. You got a few laughs out of me. And then you switch to something that's just gayer than 8 guys blowing 9 guys. Thank you, Modern Simpsons. Thank you for letting me know that there's nothing for me here. So he says Principal and the Pauper isn't the worst episode, but it's some copying out in the last 5 minutes. It's a funny episode, but it really is an episode that kind of said fuck you, you to the fans, like fuck you for caring. And look, you can say fuck you to the fans in a way that's funny. I think Modern Family Guy is still pretty funny, and it very specifically says fuck you to the fans. Because Seth MacFarlane kind of wishes that show got canceled. He's so done with it. So, I mean, you control your fans and still be funny. But, like, that was an episode where it really just felt like, oh, you like The Simpsons? Well, fuck you. Chat says, Comic-Gate would do more damage than good overall for any comic artist these days due to the amount of drama and scams within those circles, and the only lead to getting blacklisted in the industry. I wouldn't associate. Like I said, I wouldn't associate with it. I've told people from the get-go don't associate with it. I know somebody who early on in that fucking shitstorm invited me on the streams back when I was still somewhat serious about doing this show. And I didn't want any part of it. Look, this is forgotten to time, but it's a fucking fact. I kind of sparked off that initial controversy. Alright? When Heather Antos, the fucking completely unqualified editor at Marvel, was like a 22-year-old fucking girl or some shit, couldn't even... Never mind keeping continuity straight. Couldn't even keep fucking typos out of the books. And now she's over at fucking IDW. Again, failing up. Just failing from one job to another. She kind of sucks. And she posted some video or some picture of her, like, her and her fucking other stupid diversity hire girls in that office, like, drinking milkshakes and being like, haha, we run Marvel now. And I'm like, that explains the typos. Like, I'm literally, like, retweeting, like, no wonder shit's in a bad shape right now. I think, and this was back when I had the Bechtloff Twitter. And then Craig Langley's like, I'd fuck that one in the middle, which was Heather. And I was like, yeah, you might want to, if she says yes, might want to get that in writing. She looks like the false rape charge type. Like, we're just having some fun, shit and talking shit on Twitter, because you were allowed to do that back then. And she, of course, cried victim. And, like, my tweets were, like, featured in fucking articles on The Guardian. Okay, like, I sparked that. I got her fucking all pissed off. Like, there were a few other people responding to her, but, again, it was my fucking tweets in The Guardian, okay? Like, I'm the one that, like, my phone was pinging off the fucking, like, I had to, like, just stop going to Twitter for a couple of days because my notifications were just, like, overwhelming. It's not even like, oh, people are picking on me. It's just, like, too much to fucking read, and I'm like, I got other shit to do. Like, and yeah, a bunch of other people latched onto it, and people bigger than me latched onto it, and it snowballed. But I kind of feel like I'm the guy that walked by that dumpster and threw my fucking cigarette in it and lit it on fire. But I don't want anything to do with it. I didn't want anything to do with it then. And I remember there was a guy I know. I'm not going to name names. Not trying to talk out of turn, but he was getting in on this fucking circle. And he's trying to invite me on these fucking streams. And I knew right from the get-go, I'm like, this is just like Comicsgate again. Or like Gamergate again, but fucking lamer and gayer. I don't know. And so I'm like, nah, man, I'm good. You have fun. Have fun storming the castle. I'm good. And I kind of told him, too. I'm like, you really don't want to associate with this shit, man. Like, maybe it'll help you crowdfund your fucking book, which comic books don't need crowdfunded, by the way. Whatever, man. You don't want anything to do with that shit. And he was like, no, it'll be fine. And he got snaked by a lot of them fucking people, too. So he said, I vaguely remember the milkshake shit. Forgot it was about somebody named Heather Antos. Yeah, that was sort of the, Quinspiracy turned into fucking Gamergate. That was sort of the milkshake, Marvel milkshake hashtag or whatever the fuck it was, turned into fucking Comicsgate. So yeah, I feel like I walked by and threw the fucking match into that dumpster, and I don't want anything to do with that dumpster fire. So he said, I'm still wondering how Eric July was able to get the great Chuck Dixon on board with Rippaverse. Chuck Dixon latched on to Vox fucking Day early on in this shit. So, I mean, his name was Mud. Early on in Comicsgate, he latched on to Vox Day. So, I mean, that was a mistake on his part. Though, in all credit to Vox, and Vox got run out of town from Gamergate, or Comicsgate, too, because he's a spurg and he didn't fit in with the Mean Girl drama and couldn't sit at the cool kids table, I guess. But, like, the Vox was one of the first guys to actually put shit out with his stupid alt hero book and stuff like that. His little Captain Confederacy chick, or whatever the fuck she was called. So, I mean, he was one of the first people to actually put fucking stuff out there. To his credit, he didn't waste a lot of fucking time like a lot of these guys did. Bechtloff, you were working on a book for 1 million years. I know, but like nobody paid me to. It's on nobody but me. None of you guys gave me a small fucking fortune to get the book done, okay? Trust me, if I woke up to Streamlabs tomorrow and it was $20,000 or the stupid amounts that these people have made, the small fucking fortunes these people have made, I'd be doing nothing but that. Because, like, I'm not a shithead. I'm not a total shithead, at least. But I mean, first of all, like Vox called his book Alt Hero. And that's the dumbest fucking thing you could, like, you're like trying to like loosely attach it to the alt-right, I guess, and you're like, that's the other problem with Comicsgate. Set aside the fact that most of these people are fucking retards, and they're scammers, and they're grifters. This whole thing is flawed from the get-go. To be defined by what you're not is to be nothing, okay? My book's not woke. Cool. Lovely. What is it, though? Like, what is ISOM about? Can any of these ISOM fans fucking tell me what ISOM about? I read the first issue and I don't fucking remember anything about it other than it sucked. Like, give me your fucking elevator pitch for ISOM. And don't talk about woke or based or any of that other gay shit. Just what is the book about? It's not about anything. Nothing with any of this shit was about anything. We're not woke. Cool. That's like Daily Wire fucking Mr. Bertram shit. That shit is embarrassing. Let's just start a GoFundMe. I don't want to. I don't want to be a fucking parasite. Like, I take super chats because I do need some money in the next 2 weeks, but I'm not trying to be a fucking parasite. Yeah, give me $20,000 to write a book. The lowest cost of entry medium in existence. And I know there's publishing fees. Like, I know, I always joke, like, Eastman and Laird made TMNT in their fucking basement. And it's like, yeah, one of those two got a loan of like $5,000 from his uncle. I get it. Not everybody has a rich uncle. Okay, but like, the problem with all this crowdfunding shit is that you've normalized this shit now. Okay? To the point where established creators just do it. Established creators that could easily take their shit to Dark Horse or IDW or Image or any of those companies or even self-publish. No, they want you to put up the fucking... It's not my job as a consumer to put up your upfront costs in order to have the privilege of buying your product. Fuck you. And again, major companies are doing that shit. Top Cow. They own Image. They were an offshoot of Image. But they own like Witchblade and Darkness and that kind of shit. Not huge household names, but it's fucking established characters that have fans. They crowdfund it. Not even new material, but fucking compendiums. Fucking reprints. And I'm supposed to Kickstarter it. So you can print fucking reprints. But that's another fun thing Comicsgate did. And again, it's not even comic fans in this fucking thing. Beginning of May, it was Free Comic Book Day. That's been a thing, at least in the States, in the comic book world since 2002. It's over 20 years old now. And I'm in like a Comicsgate server. And, like a week before, I'm like, anybody doing anything for... Because, most stores it's like their Black fucking Friday. They'll do big sales and shit. And I'm like, anybody doing anything for Free Comics? Okay, last year, my buddy and I, we started where we just hit like 4 comic book stores. 3 in our county, 1 in the county just north of us. Make a little day trip of it, And we did that again this year. And another buddy joined us. And, I'm like, anybody doing anything for Free Comic Book Day? And I literally had one person like, what's that? I'm like, oh, I forgot. These aren't comic book fans. So it says, but overall, in order for for art of any kind, whether it's comic, movies, or game, they have to be entertaining first and foremost, instead of being culture war, jerk-off, fest, trying to own the enemy. Well, look, there's a difference between art and propaganda. And that difference is lost on a lot of people anymore. And I say this as I'm not really a right-wing guy either. So I don't fall neatly into either camp. And I think that's why maybe if I did, maybe if I was neatly in the right-wing camp, I would want right-wing propaganda. I would want something to just jerk me off. Right? But I'm not. I'm not, there's, my views are, and I hate to sound arrogant, but a bit more nuanced and a bit more eclectic than most people. I don't fall neatly into any fucking one particular group. So I'm not going to ever find something that's just going to jerk me off and regurgitate everything I already believe, vomit it back into my mouth. I'm not going to find anything that's going to do that. In order to enjoy art, I've always had to accept the fact that my views are going to be challenged here and there. And I'm fine with it. I kind of like it. But, I guess I don't really have a choice, so. Thank God I'm not a culture war idiot, otherwise I'd have to dig down deep and lie to myself, pretend to like crap movies from Daily Wire or Pure Flix. And yeah, like what? I remember when like Cuties came out and everyone was like, you have to cancel your Netflix. And I'm like, I do? Because I want to watch Stranger Things. You're just like, what am I supposed to do? Go watch Pure Flix movies? Go watch the latest thing David A.R. White is starring in or Kirk Cameron is starring in? I don't want to do that. I'd rather just fire up Paramount Plus and watch old Ninja Turtle reruns and Star Trek reruns. I'll fire up Netflix, watch fucking Stranger Things. Watch Castlevania, new season kind of blows. But the original first couple seasons are great. Poor Lenore, she was too good for this world, chat. But I don't want to do that. I don't want to. Don't you know that your money from your Netflix subscription is supporting pedophilia? I mean, maybe. But, if you're concerned about that, I have bad news about what your taxes are doing. And for you Catholics, I have bad news about what your tithes are doing. So it says, I use the Russian internet to watch any movie I want. Pay-pigging is over. Well, it's a little bit more difficult to get that shit to work on the Roku. Okay? And I'm a little bit tech retarded, and my boomer dad is especially tech retarded. So, like, I have to figure it out, which is a bit of a hassle. And then I have to make it my boomer dad proof, which I'm not going to lie, I had to put fucking parental controls on that goddamn Roku because I couldn't get him to stop buying fucking digital copies of shit and renting shit and all this other stuff. And he wouldn't even look for it. It'd be like on other things, and he wouldn't look for it. Because when you search it, it tries to like push you towards like, it always pushes you towards Amazon. Maybe Amazon makes Rokus or something, because it always pushes you towards Amazon. And most of the shit on there you gotta fucking pay for. And it's like, why don't you look? It's like, now I'm enough of a nerd, I have a general idea of like where you can probably find something. Because if I'm thinking like, okay, well that's a Warner Brothers property, so it's probably on HBO Max, or Disney owns that, it's going to be probably on Disney Plus, or Viacom owns that, it'll be on Paramount Plus. I'm enough of a nerd, I have a general idea of a lot of that stuff, but my God, he fucking bought a digital copy of the Black Widow movie. I think it hadn't even come out on DVD yet. It was still in theaters, but I think it was around that pandemic time, so was like $30 for a digital copy of it on Amazon. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? I chewed him out for that. I was like, look, first of all, you could have waited, and we could have gone to Target and bought a fucking DVD for like $20. Okay, maybe 25, and you'd actually physically fucking own it. Or you could have waited a couple weeks because it's a Marvel movie, and it would have been on Disney Plus, like a couple of months maybe. Or here's another thought: I'm a huge comic book fan, and even I didn't give a shit about it. So why were you in such a hurry to watch it? I still haven't seen it. Like, who fucking cares? It's Black Widow. Who fucking cares? Yeah, I don't know, man. I gotta make it idiot proof for him. So that's why I just have some streaming services on the Roku. It's fine. It's way cheaper than cable. We used to have cable. You talk about paying through the fucking nose. Although I have to admit the streaming services are slowly creeping up that way. But even now they're gonna start doing bundles with each other where you can get like 3 of them together or something. So I'll look into that. I got Netflix, which I already had. Amazon Prime, which I already had for shipping. And then like Hulu, Disney Plus. What else? Paramount Plus. And there's some I got like free versions of, like Peacock and Tubi and shit like that. It's like, oh, there's ads. But it's like, I'm old enough that I used to watch TV. None of these streaming services have as much ads as TV used to. Like your hour-long show has one break in the middle, but I stick 2 ads. That's nothing. Okay. Alright. Well, I think that's about it for tonight, folks. I just felt like chatting. Felt like mostly just shitting on Eric July. Fuck him. Fuck Eric July. Oh, you're just jealous. Yeah, I'm really jealous. He made a lot of money. Good for him. Buy your way out of hell with that money. Anyway. What does it profit a man to gain the world and lose his soul? But that's about it for tonight. I'm probably going to stream a bit more in the next few days. Next couple weeks. I got the time and I could use the money. So hopefully we get some more super chats coming in. Next time I stream, I will try and watch some more of that fucking E. Michael Jones thing. I feel bad because like Duke of Tumwater sent like $50 to watch that thing, and I get like 2 minutes in and I'm just infuriated. I'm just like screaming. But it's like, I can't with that shit. That is just so upsetting. Again, I think of how many souls that man pushes away from Christ. Even the people that buy into his shit don't actually come to Christ because he doesn't preach Christ. Preaches tradition and the church and Mary and logos. Leave it to a trad Catholic to figure out a way to talk about Christ without actually saying his name. Pretty sure if E. Michael Jones said his name, it might burn his mouth. But we'll try and get through some more of it. Ugh. But that's about it for tonight, folks. Thanks for listening. You could have been watching Medicare. I think he's still alive. But thanks for listening.